Hello, party people. I don't know about you, but me personally, a lot of times when I'm working, especially in traditional media, I get to an ugly phase with my art. Inevitably, it always comes around, it always happens. And today was no exception. I decided to work in my sketchbook today because it's been a minute and I'm trying to, I don't know, be a well-rounded artist and not just work digitally, but traditionally as well. And I love working traditionally. I am not always that confident in my ability to do so. And always without fail, when I hit that point where you hit the ugly phase in a piece of art, it is much harder for me to push past it to get to the good phase. So I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit today. But before I get into the weeds with that, I wanted to make sure I introduce myself because I am very bad at introducing myself in these videos. So hi, my name is Momo. I'm an illustrator, and today I want to talk to you about getting past the ugly phase. So for today's sketchbook exploration, I am basically using this website called filmgrab.com, and what it does is it finds different interesting movie stills, or it has a database of like interesting movie stills, and you can randomize it. You can pick whichever one you want. Specifically, you can search the movie, all that good stuff. But essentially what you get is a really nice composition, like really nicely composed moment from something in film. This particular image is not from that website. I just had this one saved from the Sabrina Carpenter music video for Tears because I just thought that looked really nice. But throughout the rest of today, that's what we're working on. And I wanted to play with gouache. As you know, like if you've been here a little bit, you know I play around with like acrylic gouache a lot. So this is just traditional gouache, which is one that is more rewettable. Acrylic gouache, when you put it down, just in case you don't know the difference, acrylic gouache is essentially more permanent. You put it down, it acts like acrylic paint. It doesn't re-wet, it doesn't lift again, but you can make it as thin or as thick as you'd like initially. Traditional gouache re-wets really easily. So you'll put a layer down and you'll paint on top of it and it can re-wet the under layer. So do with that information what you will. Typically I'm better with, I would say acrylic gouache than traditional gouache, but hey, I have it, I have to use it. So when I started this off, I gotta say, I didn't do any warm-ups or anything like that. I normally don't do warm-ups when I'm playing in my sketchbook, which granted is a sketchbook, that the whole thing is a warm-up, I guess, but I don't know, I feel like that is also to my detriment. So I think an important thing when you're starting work on something, whether it's in your sketchbook or in like a finished product, whichever, I think it's very important to kind of like get those juices going. Sketch a little something first, get the ugly vibes out. I did not do any of that. I kind of just jumped straight in, and I think that really messed with my ability to get something to the place that I wanted it. Because listen, the minute I put that paint down, I said, oh girl, this is not working out. Which is why I jumped to a safety blanket, which for me is lines. I think I'm much stronger with line art. And so I immediately, once that color was down and I was like not getting anything to look the way I wanted to, grab that colored pencil and like try to fix things up. I also think that does help a bit when you are in the quote unquote ugly phase, is being able to switch up what you're doing, be a little more versatile in like your approach. So I think an important like tip I would give is to be versatile and honestly lean a little bit on tried and true methods to like bring yourself back to like, okay, I know how this works. I know I can make this look like something if I switch to a medium I understand. So that's what I did. So for this section of the sketchbook stuff, I guess, the thing that was really getting to me was the fact that I had something in mind for the look and I don't think I was achieving it. This happens to me quite frequently. You might have heard me talk about it before. Listen, we all have our things. We all have our things, okay? So I think I was really stuck on the fact that I wasn't getting a specific look. And because of that, I kept kind of rehashing and repainting and whichever, which can lead to getting stiff, can lead to getting muddy. And I was in danger of that. So I decided to abandon ship. Sometimes the best thing you could do is walk away. I don't know what else there is to say. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. If you see that you're hammering the thing and it's getting, I don't know, tighter and tighter, not just in like how the work looks, but in how you're approaching it. And maybe that's specific to me and my, like how I work when it comes to art. But I feel like when I can feel myself getting stiff, and not being able to, it doesn't feel easy, it doesn't feel free, I need to stop. So tip number 3, I guess, be able to walk away. Like, you have to acknowledge when it's like, this isn't working, we're just going to start over. There is nothing wrong with that. Please, if it's not working for you, sometimes you need to let it go, and maybe you can come back to it and fix it in the future. But in the here and now, we have to move on, because this isn't working. We can't keep fighting these demons. Now, I know I just said we need to stop fighting these demons, but you are going to see me fight these demons for a little bit longer. You will. I'm not perfect, okay? I'm learning to take my own advice. But I definitely kept pushing this. Maybe a little bit longer than I should have. I don't know. I was just determined, like, please work, please work. And she's not. I do think I managed to get it back to a better place off camera, and only after I kind of abandoned ship a little bit. Yeah. So I think I guess you could consider this to be my warm-up, and it was just not, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with her at all, but it's okay. We're going to move on. So I am trying to do a thing. We're doing film studies, but I think I'm just going to sketch it because I paint and me are not are great right now. So there's a website called filmgrub.com, and I'm looking at random posts from different films. Who's this one? This is, I don't even know what movie this is. Oh, Streets of Fire. I guess that's the name of the movie. This is Streets of Fire, and I just really liked how it looks, so we're going to sketch that. Me practicing what I preach right here, right now, okay? You got to put the words into action, and that is currently what's happening on screen. I think this really helped me to get my mind right to do the third one that I'm going to do after this. This is kind of a culmination of all the things I talked about before. This felt like a warm-up. I got the juices flowing. I got into a rhythm. It felt easy. And I was sticking with things that felt natural to me, which is line art. This is so funny. I feel like I've had this conversation with you guys before about the idea of being like a line artist versus like a shape and color artist. It's a conversation I had like ages ago with a friend, and I still don't know exactly where I stand. I think my spirit wants to be a shape and color girly, but I think I might just be a line girl. I want to be a painter so bad, like it's ridiculous. But I'm much more like comfortable, I think, finding the piece or finding the meat of the work when I'm doing lines and doing sketch work. So this felt natural. This felt easy. It was easy for me to kind of get the flow going. And I think once I locked that in, it was much easier to approach the next thing and still be in that flow state, you know? Like, it just worked out a lot better. So honestly, I feel like to not have the ugly phase, get stuck in the ugly phase, you got to get that juju out first. You got to do a little pre-sketch, a little warm-up, and then you'll be ready to go. I don't know. Try it out. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. So after doing all of that, like, or the first two rather, sketches and stuff in my sketchbook, I think that really helped loosen me up. And so when I went into doing this final piece, I felt a lot looser. I felt a lot more able to make choices that didn't feel like I was almost like judging myself as I went. It felt a lot more natural and easy, and I wasn't kind of beating myself up as much about putting the paint down and making the choices that I was making. Everything felt in the moment. Everything was all about it. Just flowed a lot more naturally doing this piece than it did the first two. And I think the key really is the warm-up. To be completely honest, I think that's probably the most important step when you're starting something like this. I mean, keep in mind, a sketchbook's a sketchbook is a sketchbook. You can be as ugly and as pretty as you like, but I know how frustrating it gets when you are working on something and you want it to be like good and you can't get there. You know, you're doing everything and it's just not happening. And I feel like that frustration builds up and makes it just makes it worse. So yeah, I think being able to kind of have a moment before you get into the thing that you're working on where you kind of just go, let me just draw a little something, let me sketch a little something that feels natural, that's comfortable for me, kind of gets you out of your head and makes it much easier to get into the next piece of work that you're doing. In a way, it's kind of like, as an artist, you're an athlete, and you know, just like you have to do your warm-up exercises before you can start playing tennis or running or whichever, you gotta do your stretches, you gotta warm up. I think the same is true for working on art. Sometimes you forget, you feel like you can just dive into it, but this is as much as a mental and physical game, everybody. I think your mindset when you start working on stuff does affect how you're able to create the things that you're making. Maybe I'm being a little bit too woo-woo about it, but speaking from experience, I do think you gotta have your mind right. You gotta get your head in the game, as my good friend Troy Bolton would say, before things can start working out the way you need them to. So I think this is a very good lesson for me, as well as hopefully a lesson for yourself if you're struggling with like getting over that very frustrating phase when you're making art called the ugly phase. Now, I will say mileage may vary. I personally know that sketchbook is one thing, painting is one thing. I know when I'm working digitally, I kind of have the same frustration sometimes with pieces, like full pieces that I'm doing, where I'll get the ugly phase and I'll be able to get out of it. Most of the times it's down to giving myself space and time to do it. Sometimes I do have to abandon ship completely on the project. There is even now something I'm working on currently that I was struggling through it for the longest, and I just had to go, I need to scrap this whole thing and start over. And that's when things started working out for me. I think sometimes it is just easier to start something new than forcing something else to work. So those are my thoughts, feelings, and opinions about the ugly phase. I don't know if there's anything for you guys that works out when you're in that state when you're working, but if there is, please feel free to share. I would love to hear it, because trust me, I hate being in that stage in art, and I would do anything to get out of it. So please share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions about that down below. Well, we've hit the point of the video where it's time for me to sign off. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the things that you do on YouTube down below. And new videos on my channel every other Saturday. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.